Okay, welcome back for part two. Part of me didn't feel fair, and I didn't feel fair on the developers that potentially have answered my questions and taken time out to maybe answer mine and the community questions. And I felt that for this one, I will complete the full developer blog. I've just had a break, and we've de-tilted off some of the answers, and I figured, let's just finish it, okay?
Gears 5 seen an increase in content that's brand new, or are you sticking on the 3-month cycles? Right now, you're going to see content being added basically every 3 months with part of our operation. Is that something that we can look at? I mean, we added the Cantus a month later.
Yep.
So that's something that's a bit different there. You know, we're going to look at other things that maybe we can roll out other content mid-operation, but generally a lot of the content comes on that operation cadence. Is it going to be like that forever? I'm not going to say, because I don't know, but right now that's how we're going to keep going. Okay. People they feel like the Lancer's in a good state. Too much ammo. Will we ever see a clip size?
Okay. I'm glad I stuck with it. So I was getting a little bit disheartened, not because I think I'm important and my questions should be answered. No, I was told that the last month they were going to be answered, so I watched the stream and they weren't, and then I was told again that they were going to be answered by the developer or like the community manager, so I tuned in again and I hadn't heard anything, but now we're getting some answers, so I can't fault the team in any way. They've answered them. This is all we can ask for. They've taken their time out to answer the questions. So, they are going to stick with the 3-month cycle, just like Path of Exile. They're not going to change, so that's effectively what they've selected to do. They give you some content, you play it for a couple months, then you probably take a month off, and then you wait for the 3rd month. That's the cycle they've chosen to go for, and that's what they're going to stick with. And then next, the question, which I did speak about, is just to bring it up, was... We feel like the Lancer is in a good state right now, however there might be too much ammo available in comparison to other guns. Will we ever see a clip size reduction or overall ammo count reduction? Let's hear what they've got to say.
Reduction or overall ammo count reduction?
Oh, I'm going to jump in on this one and say extremely unlikely.
Yeah.
It's way reduced from Gears 4. I think it's like halved.
Yeah.
So I would highly doubt it.
Yeah.
Right now, at least internally, the general feeling is that we have the Lancer in a good place.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so they're saying that there's, they're pretty much done with the Lancer. They're not going to change anything. I still feel like the fact that there's about, how many bullets? 180? Is there 180 bullets? Maybe more? You can down someone in 11 bullets. You can get about, 20 odd downs. I'm not sure I'm doing the maths correct, but you know what I mean? You can get a hell of a lot of downs in a single gun. But you could argue, you could get 20 odd kills with a shotgun with every bullet. So I understand what they're saying, but it seems like that, the clip size isn't been looked at and they think the Lancer's in a good spot. My only point was that sometimes when you're spraying somebody from a distance, you can then turn and without reloading, just carry on respraying and down that person. That's why I was talking about the actual clip size. Maybe if it was a smaller clip size, you might have to think about, do I want to open fire on this guy? Because then if somebody runs across, I might have to reload. And then people might be able to make more aggressive pushes because they're reloading the rifle rather than just looking and just basically drilling people down across the map. I personally think there's too much ammo in the clip size to encourage shotgun gameplay, but to me it doesn't sound like they really want to encourage shotgun gameplay. From everything that we've heard in this developer blog, it sounds like they're trying to make every gun as equally as powerful, so I don't think that's what they want to do.
4v4 was a staple of Gears. It allowed more breathing room on the map, less crossing angles, and overall playmaking. Would you ever consider 4v4 for rank play? The reason why, I'm not going to say no, because ever is always a word that makes me nervous. However, I will say this much is true. If you look at a Gears 4 and 5 map, were designed with 5v5 fights in mind. Whereas you go and you look at what's the Raven Down? Obviously a much more intimate, tight map, 4v4. So it's one of those ones where I think everything right now has been built and designed, and the meta has been optimized for that 5v5 experience. So I hear your comments, and maybe we should try. Could we do a special event with 4v4?
Yeah, we've done it before.
We should do that.
Yeah.
we may do that. We'll see. So there you go. Okay. Why?
So no 4v4, basically kind of what I thought. The whole game's been designed around 5v5, which is something I don't like, and I just kind of threw it out there because that's what my community wanted to notice. But yeah, no 4v4, rest in peace. I still think that 4v4 execution creates more breathing room, less angles to get crossed, but there you have it, they want the 5v5.
Why do you make, in some people's eyes, a load of banners and poor skins? I think we've already talked about this. Are you planning to reduce the jib range? I think, Liam, you just talked about that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a big question. Let me read it first.
Yeah, there's some beefy questions in.
Okay, here we go. A big thing in the community at the moment is skill-based matchmaking. Many people dislike the environment it creates. Most people play ranked purely to get a game mode that starts 5v5 with no bots and has good settings. Previously, if they wanted to truly compete, they played scrims with 10 tryhards in a custom. Since 2006, here's a culture of custom games, custom rank settings, and just playing for fun. Now it's all about fighting for ELO in a hit or miss system. Have you ever considered going back to the basics with the rank system, such as allowing players to host their own ranked games with no skill-based matchmaking? This also solves problems of wait times, as people can sit and talk in lobby and select the side they prefer.
Isn't that kind of our custom game?
We do have custom lobbies now, so you can go and do that. Custom
Is it
ranks,
more that you want the
they want it
XP
to be,
and progression and stuff?
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
The hard part about that is that can be exploited. And this is one of the balances of
yeah, because it's not an idea we've ever been close to. We're actually talking about with the escape hives, and if there's a way we can make user-created escape hives ever give you something, like maybe it's anyone's we feature or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely not something we're close to.
It's like,
but
this is the dumbest suggestion.
No like,
suggestion is a dumb suggestion. All questions are good questions.
Well, it's like,
and I don't mean that sarcastically. I do. Like, if someone is asking the question, they care about it.
Well, I mean, personally speaking, as a big Gears 1 fan, like back in the day, like it would be great to be able to have custom lobbies that felt like I was going into ranked and getting that same sort of rewards and benefits. But it's just like, it's something we talked about, but it's just so hard to not make it exploitable.
I was gonna say, I feel like the gamers today, because we've gamified so many aspects of the systems, that people are better at figuring out, and the way that, and like the internet is more sophisticated. Like, everything is just, there's more content and information, and the meta gets broken up. Like, if you look at, like, Destiny is a good example, right? As soon as somebody figures out how to beat a raid, it's shared immediately.
Yeah. Like all of a sudden, everyone's beating it. Yeah.
Whereas, like, would a game like
like
Destiny be as successful? Like, you look at what WoW was like back when I used to play WoW. Like, a raid would take forever to go and figure out because there wasn't like there wasn't. I'm old as fuck. There wasn't a lot of. It wasn't as easy at that point to share, and strategies wasn't just as organic. So, I get what you're saying. It's just it'd be hard for it not to be exploited now. Okay.
I get what they're saying. They're saying that. Well, let me rephrase it. They think I'm asking for ranked games so I can get XP. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the reason I feel like people played Gears of War back in the day was because you could hop in and host your own settings, and people would join and not quit, and you could play for a leaderboard, right? Like an actual leaderboard of not just MMR. So what I was trying to say was that it's been a culture of people that load in, they sit in a lobby, they chat, they play ranked, and they host their own settings, such as I want to play 19 rounds of Raven Down, or I want to play 5 canals. Yeah, you can kind of do that with custom games, but you're never going to get the same experience because how do you word it? Like, it's difficult. I understand what they're saying. The culture has changed. It'd be very difficult to get people to host their own ranked games, but I feel like the reason that doesn't happen is because people will think to themselves, why would I join a custom game when I don't get anything for that? So I guess true, that is correct. They're saying, like, maybe we can't do it because people then would probably just exploit the system. But yeah, I guess that's just thinking about it, I guess that's just it's a predicament, isn't it? How do you get players to play ranked and not just to abuse it for skins? I guess what I'm saying is maybe you could do it a different way. Then maybe that was a bit of a poorly worded question on my part. Thinking about it, what I should have said is there any opportunities for us to tweak the matchmaking settings and then for them to put us in a matchmaking environment? Meaning, why can't I search for 15 rounds of district? You could then let's think about this because this is important. Let's think about this. Maybe there was a search option that said matchmaking default, so it just throws you into a regular rank game. Or you could look at map, and then you could look at rounds, more than 5, less than 10, and then you get thrown into that. And then you could look at more than 10, less than 20, and then if someone has also inputted those matchmaking settings, they then find you. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I guess I'm just a bit disillusioned with modern gaming, and they kind of explain it as well. Just like, it's a really good answer by Dana. Just like WoW, there's a lot of information that gets shared, and Octus as well, there's a lot of information that gets shared dead quickly. And all of a sudden, if somebody found out a way to exploit the system by playing ranked and hosting a certain round duration, people would exploit it. And I guess that's just something we've got to accept. Probably the culture of hosting your own custom game is probably gone, just because, like he says, everything's been gamified, and everything these days has to have a reward and has to have a reason to play it. Most people now, they don't really play just to get better and just have fun and play on a little leaderboard. They want elo, and they want rewards. And some guy said that's the dumbest suggestion ever. I would say my community came up with that. I would not say asking to be able to host your own custom rank settings is the dumbest idea ever. So yeah, but again, I always thank the team for taking their time to answer. But yeah, it's really difficult, isn't it? Because it would be so nice to be able to host 15 rounds of execution, ranked, get on the leaderboard. But yeah, these days everyone would probably just exploit it, wouldn't they? Oh, let's boost for MMR, let's do this or that. Or yeah, it's just like they say, everything's just gamer, isn't it? Everything's a gamer thing nowadays.
Gears has always been a multiplayer experience.
Sorry, I just want to address this.
Yeah.
But what we want to do with our time is what our decision. So yes, it is, but also protecting the integrity of the game and the systems within the game is also impacts everybody. If we had added that system to the game, and we allowed any exploiting, you're going to see a bunch of people roll out of matchmaking and just be like doing exploit lobbies. Like, remember the Horde community and how upset people were when people just went into speedrunning culture, right? Yeah. That's the damage that can be done to an economy. Yeah. And like, if the XP and Tor and everything become worthless because everyone's just like grinding and boosting everything within a day and then being like, I'm done. There's nothing left for me to do.
And it's like, because you speedrun it.
Yeah. Saying, and this is every game ever. It's exactly right. They're exactly right what they're saying. Yep. It gets to that point, doesn't it, where maybe, even if they halved all the rewards in ranked, it's still more optimal. And that's what everything's become these days, hasn't it? Everything's about being optimal, the optimal play, the optimal way to play the game, which is the most meta shotgun, which is the best angle to take. And it just that culture, I guess, that culture of just playing, chilling in a lobby with your mates on voice comms and just playing for the hell of it. Maybe there is a community out there, but you'd have to outsource it yourself with your own forum and set it up, and that's just too much effort for what it's worth. I think that culture's just gone, and I don't like using the word gamer, but there are a lot of gamers. What I would call a gamer these days is they don't really play the game for fun. They play to, quote, be a gamer, to exploit things, to unlock things, rather than the enjoyment of the game, and they're completely right. Like the idea of hosting your own ranked game does seem brilliant, but people would probably just not even join, and they'd probably be like, oh well, this guy's hosting a different lobby and he's got more exploitable settings and I can get my shotgun easier. So yeah, maybe that's what it's come to, and that's kind of why I'm disillusioned with the modern games.
It's not as
what do we got here? Gears Always Core has been a multiplayer based experience. What was the thinking behind the choice here? Move Delta Squad For a huge Game Pass launch and only as features have met. I think, first of all, let's separate those two concepts. The Delta Squad and Game Pass is like kind of...
The reason I asked this question wasn't because there were two separate things. Maybe I should have just been more clear. I guess what I'm trying to say is you had 3 million people play the game at launch, and you chose to release the game to those 3 million people, those fresh eyes on the game, with barely any maps and the core characters that people know Gears for not in the game. So you're already going to turn off a large portion because they're going to be like, right, I've seen all the maps, I'm bored, and I don't like these characters. Lego, let's go play a different game. So I guess that's what I'm asking in my question, is not really why did you remove them and then Game Pass. The two are connected. I probably should have made that more clear. But what I was trying to say was, you had so many eyes. You had Ninja playing Doc, Shroud, all these massive streamers, people making videos to reactions to the campaign and all of this. And you chose to be brave or stupid or whatever the word people want to come up with and just roll out with barely any content, like bare bones multiplayer content. I wanted to know why that was, really.
I think
I'm trying to think of the best way to answer this question.
I think it's pretty easy to answer, really, which is like, at the end of the day, the character system and everything we were trying to do with Horde and Escape to take it forward.
Yeah.
The amount of characters that were in there was pretty huge, to be honest. It was a ton of work.
Yeah.
And, you know, characters like Marcus, etc., we made sure were there. But people like Delta, etc., just frankly wasn't necessarily the time to do those. And the main characters of this game are not Delta Squad, right? Like, the main characters of Gears 5 are not Delta. They are, you know, the new Delta. It's Kate, it's Fars, it's... you know, like Dell, JD, and like, sorry, I got distracted by dying really badly. And so, like, those are the people we're going to put the focus on. And then for Escape, like, because Escape as a concept is just so different to anything that had really been done in Gears before, having those new characters gave us the opportunity to do some cool stuff narratively, but also in terms of the mode, it was important to have these unique characters that were distinguished. So you understood they operated differently and that the whole experience was something very separate. It's like a game design reason. So like, it's not that anyone didn't want it. It's just you have a certain amount of capacity, development time. And so the focus made sense to obviously focus on our main cast for the game, which if to speak to Game Pass.
Yeah, like I was saying, so I wondered why they did it. And the straight answer, like they said, is basically you've got limited development time. And they decided that their best interest would be to put in the new characters with the ultimates for Escape, Horde, and all of that stuff. So that's all I was trying to get. I was just trying to get an answer out so you understand at home kind of the decision. So basically, they said the multiplayer, the OG players that like the classic guys, they're really not that important for this new game. What is important is getting the Game Pass users to see the new abilities, to see the new characters, the new, you know, sort of unit we've created with the new Kate-led squad, and that's kind of what they went down. But my idea was there's probably loads of people that want to get back into Gears, and them not seeing many maps and not seeing many characters would turn them away. But they don't seem too concerned about that. They looked at it a different way, which I feel is the wrong way, if I'm being honest. I feel that bringing back the old characters and the old maps, well, I'm not saying the old maps, but the old style and the exhilaration multiplayer probably would have got more people to stick with the game long term. You could have brought in Coltrane or whoever without ultimates and just chucked them in multiplayer if you didn't want to do unique classes for every single character because it took too much time. But yeah, I guess that kind of, and that's why I ask these questions. I don't ask the questions because I necessarily think the question is great. I ask the question because it's naturally going to make them give me a response that makes me understand the development process better. Does that make sense? So some of the questions I don't truly believe in, and some of the questions, I'm not asking because I really want that question answered. I'm asking it because I know it will lead me to give me a different answer. Does that make sense? That's kind of my questioning style. If I'd have just said, yo, do you think you should have deleted Delta Squad? They'd have said no. But by asking it in this manner, they let me know, yeah, we actually actively made the decision that for the Game Pass users, the key thing to get them to see was the new characters and classes. And that's all I can ask. They're answering the question fairly. You at home can decide if that was the right call, or if you think that's good or bad. It's not up for me to decide, really.
If you come into Gears 5 as your first Gears game, you might not know Cole, Baird, etc.
Yeah. You certainly wouldn't know Dom, because at least Cole and Baird
Yeah,
are
exactly.
in the game.
Yeah. And so like the focus is on those first, and then everyone else after. And it's just a capacity thing. Like if we could have had them in at launch.
There you go. The focus is on them first and everyone else later. The Game Pass users that haven't seen the OGs, they don't give a shit about Cole, about Baird, really, about Dom. The most important thing was getting those Game Pass users to see the new people, so that kind of explains it for you.
We ultimately would have.
And we've heard you guys. We know that we
know
how
important
important
you wanted it. It's just prioritization, basically.
There you go. Liam
Hope
was
that
able
answers it.
Liam was able to be a lot more like eloquent than I was. I
was
trying to get to it. I
hope it made sense. Like
it made complete sense.
Oh, this is one that I'm hoping you can speak to, because it's a little bit more of an old school thing. They don't see the need for stopping power anymore with how many support tools are in the game to help stop pushes that aim assist killing people that you miss. Basically, hold on. Players don't see the need for stopping power anymore with how many support tools are in the game to help stop pushes, and that aim assist and killing people that you miss is one of the largest issues that they have with the game. Are there plans to tackle this? Are you
well, I mean, on the stopping power front, we don't really see that feedback particularly.
This is a very, I haven't heard this one a lot.
I don't know if that's representative from what we see, but if you feel differently, chat, let us know. Yeah. Be good to know if this is something.
That's interesting. So they said that they've never heard of anybody complain about. I said the two main issues are people hate stopping power, stopping pushes. Especially, my question was that when people run away, I can understand someone running at you head on, you might need stopping power, but when they're running away, it's designed to stop pushes. So why is stopping power active when you run away? And also, I said that aim assist is one of the key issues, but they said that they've never heard those issues arise. So that's why I asked the questions, not because I can handle stopping power, like it's whatever, but I asked the question so you understand, and also these questions were coming from my community, so these are the questions we came up with. Let's hear the answer.
No, maybe it's bubbling for service, but it's not something we've seen really bubble up. As for what was the second part of it? The question?
About aim assist and killing people that you miss is the largest issue.
Again, not really an issue since we reduced the magnetism.
Yeah.
These were written in December. So we had already done that by then. But again, we haven't really seen that discussed much since we reduced everything. So again, chat, if you feel differently, let us know.
Okay.
I still would say that it's great, by the way, just to get this out of the way. I don't care what they say. I'm not having a go at them in any way. It's just great that they're answering. But what I will say is, I'm pretty sure aim assist is still a massive thing even after December, right? Like, you can aim at someone's head and miss and it will still kill them. I feel like that's a pretty big issue, but they're not saying it is, so maybe you can leave in the comments below. Is aim assist still an issue for those still playing?
This, with our Tour of Duty battle pass system, people are like, why didn't we make the game for free? Using this level system. There are lots of other games that follow the model of seasons and earning content, and that are, whether they're free-to-play games or pay-to-play games. For us,
So just to reiterate, my question basically was, if you're going to do all the content's locked behind a grinding Tour of Duty system, and it's like a live service where maps get added, characters get added over time, why did we have to pay for the game? Why is it not just a free-to-play game on Xbox? That was my question.
One of the big feedbacks we heard in developing of the Tour of Duty system was that a big critique that we got from Gears 4 was people hated the loot boxes. And they wanted the ability to go and have content that, like, they want to be able to buy that content directly. They want to be able to earn content. So when we designed Tour of Duty, and really the overall of the game, it was you would go and you would see the content and you would see the path on which you could go and earn and unlock that content. And then with the store, it was a way that it was like, hey, I really want X, I'm going to go and buy X. Rather than, we heard that frustration from people of like, I'm going and I'm having to buy and I'm spending money and I'm not getting Mira. It's taking me 3 or 4 kicks at the can, so to speak, to get this character. So when we designed the system, it was more along looking at that type of a model.
I think something. Just to add to that, like I think the intention. Right, let's look at the intention. If you look at when we get to Operation 3, you'll have had essentially 3 Battle Pass like type things, right? That are all free on top of that $60. Bear in mind, games like Apex Legends don't have a fully fledged campaign that took 3 years to make. They don't have 4 different mode experiences within their multiplayer experience.
Absolutely agree. Again, so basically, like I'm saying, your money, your payment basically pays for the campaign, all the other features that you get because it's a AAA title with a single player, right? That makes sense. Completely fair. Obviously, like your Apex Legends, your Fortnite, they're free to play games, but again, they don't have a massive campaign, they don't have voice acting to the degree that Gears does and all of that, so it makes sense. But again, what I would like to say is, could we not have done a system where the multiplayer is free, and if you want to pay $20 to buy the campaign, you pay $20? Because that's what I'd have done. I reckon you'd have made a ton of money because people would have tried the multiplayer out for free, probably relatively enjoyed it, and then bought the campaign. But yeah, I guess that was my question was, why is it not a free I should have asked why is it not a free multiplayer, because I understand why the game's not free, because there's a massive campaign in it. Can't really think of any game with a massive campaign that's free apart from something that's like Path of Exile, but the campaign sort of is the multiplayer in a way. So I just wanted to ask that question.
And yet their battle passes are like what, $20 the basic one, something like that?
No, 15 or $12.99.
Right. So like, what I'm getting to is that the base game is something, but the Tour of Duty is intended to feel like a great free experience added on.
Yeah.
We didn't get Tour in a good place. Tour 1, I think everyone can agree that. Tour 2, I think is like a step forward.
I haven't seen the punt in game yet.
And Tour 3 will be another step forward.
Yeah.
Our intention is that it feels like for your $60, if you don't spend another penny again, you don't get anything from the store, you just spend your $60, right? USD. That you're essentially continuing to get all this like DLC, right? Like the maps and stuff like that. You're getting all this free cosmetic content that feels good to earn and feels valuable to you, which again, we've still got to work on for sure.
Yeah.
And that the only thing you need to pay for is boost if you want to accelerate that progression, and the store if you want optional cosmetic stuff. Again, the store, something we're always looking at, but that's the intention. And I think for us, like we know the intention isn't maybe isn't being matched by the delivery, and that's something we continue to work on. It's a big priority for us.
So exactly.
I just wanted to add that to it.
No, that's great. Thank you. I think that's almost all the questions that we got sent through. So thank you everybody for sending them through. If we didn't get to you, there's more. Why doesn't the Swarm Imago have butt cheeks? He did, but he doesn't.
Those were all of my questions answered. I guess the things that we missed out on were probably nothing really. Most of them got answered. I guess some of them got misinterpreted. That could be down to just them not wanting to read a massive paragraph. They weren't too long, the questions. They looked like this. And again, these questions all weren't mine. They were coming from the community. So I know he said I kind of sent them in, but they were coming from the community. We did have some quick fire questions, but obviously I'm not expecting them to take up their entire afternoon listening to my old rubbish. But yeah, that was fair enough. Can't have any complaints. When a developer sits down and answers your questions like that, it doesn't matter what, you've got to remember guys, it doesn't matter what the answer is, you just got to say thanks for letting them take the time to do it, right? Don't attack them if you don't like the answer, just be happy that they answered, because if we act respectful, then they're probably going to ask and maybe for some different feedback, right? So that's what I wanted to promote, is just be normal humans, ask some nice questions, they'll probably get answered, and that's all you can do, right? I don't agree with some of their answers, some of them definitely do agree with, and that's all we can say, isn't it? So wonderful stuff. If you've enjoyed that, thanks for submitting the questions. If you enjoy the work I'm trying to put in, you can support the content goal. Have a great evening. Peace.
Why make the Martha unusable? It's a joke gun now, Liam. It's
Yeah, we don't disagree that it might have been overly put in the ground. We have some tuning incoming that we're going to be testing internally in playtests very soon. So.
Maybe it's because I play on PC. The Mortar is not a joke gun. Now, are you going to two-shot somebody across the map? No, but as a gun should fill a role, right? A gun has a role in the game to play. Everything that's put in the game should be put in with thought and reason and a role. Now, was the Martyr put in to be an absolute killing machine? Probably not, no. So why are we going to rebuff it to be a killing machine? Right now, if you're accurate, the Marxer can literally lay down suppression and support fire accurately from a distance and rip through people. The gun isn't a joke at all. Now, maybe it's because it's console, players can't aim or something, maybe that's what it is. But the gun isn't a joke. I'm pretty sure, like, the Martyr is a very good gun. And that's what I mean with the whole, like, balance thing. Like, we're just going to keep buffing everything to everything stupid OP. And it's just not going to...
Why is there only 6 bullets in the Nasher, Liam? Why?
I mean, I can answer it. During development, the desire was for the Nasher to have more range than it had in 4.
Yeah.
And to generally be a bit more, like, a little less... Like, it was a little weak at any sort of, like, if you look at Gears 4, you're kind of very much going for the jib every time. And the intention was to kind of move away from that, and so to counteract the fact that it kind of got a bit of a buff, to be honest, it got 2 less shots. And the reason for that is it's meant to punish just constant firing. Like, you know, if you just spam fire at your opponent and you aren't really thinking about your shots and you're missing all your shots, it provides a window of opportunity for essentially a new skill gap, where players who hit their shots and actually think about the shots they're hitting are not going to run out of bullets in a 3v or a 4v as much.
So their intention was the gun was going to have a lot more... the gun, in his words, has a lot more potent range and long range. So you can duel people from a distance. And because it's a lot stronger than it was in Gears 5, they took out 2 bullets to counteract that. I'm pretty sure he's completely wrong there. Gears 5 definitely has one of the weakest, I think, if not the weakest Nasher from a distance. You can't down anybody from a distance. And it doesn't really have any one-shot down capability, and it doesn't have really much two-shot down capability unless you're very close. And I think even Ryan said as well, it's probably one of the weakest shotguns apart from the Gib range that the game's ever had. And he knows a lot about the game, so I trust him. So the idea that they took out 2 bullets to counteract the power of... and give people more opportunities to, quote, take 1v4s without running out of bullets if you don't spam is just crazy, because we're now going to up the distance that it shoots from in the next patch, right? And we're going to lower the Gib range, which means, let's say in an ideal world, you 2-shot down 3 people. That is all of your bullets gone. Or you're going to have to go into a really close Gib range, which I do like, but to then kill a 1v4, you're going to have to effectively try 1-shot 4 people, maybe 2-shot down another, whilst everyone else is shooting at you. I just can't see the logic behind removing the 2 bullets, or not even removing the 2 bullets. I think the main issue is, and Ryan spoke about this, if Ryan's watching, I don't know if he watches these. I think a couple of developer blogs back, you were playing, I remember this, I'll Neo this, you were playing on Vaskar, and you said that you wanted to make sure that when you reload, you always get your bullets back. Instead of putting 8 bullets back in the shotgun, you would rather have it that when you reload, you get all of your bullets, and I like that. Keep 6 shots if you want it, but the whole trying to take a 1v3 and also trying to time that with the fact that you've got this active system where, oh, I reloaded but I didn't get all my bullets and I'm going to have to reload again. It gets really, really convoluted and luck based that, oh, 3 people happened to push me at the time that my active meter bar wasn't up, and then I only got 3 bullets, and now I can't down everyone because, you know, there's not much outplay potential from a distance currently until there's a little bit more damage on the shotgun from range. Just gets very finicky, and I think it should just be a very simple case of you reload the gun, you get all of the ammo back.
Accounting things that we have to take into consideration in terms of giving it away and stuff like that. but we can pass that feedback along. I think we've heard that. I think rather what you're probably asking is less, can we get more iron, but how are we ways that we can earn more content? Which is I think what you're really asking.
Again, we've been having this conversation since the dawn of time. They're not just going to give you a load of iron away for free. It's literally their way of earning money in the game post-release. They're not going to give away iron for free. Certainly not enough that is meaningful. You might get enough iron over your lifetime to buy 1, maybe 2 skins. They're not going to give you like millions of iron that you can just buy everything in the shop. It's just not going to happen. And again, I don't even understand why the question's even been asked or answered.
Has the Nashor spread changed from a square grid to the wide star pattern?
That is a great question. I love that question, because when we saw this Nashor spread internally, we were like, what is going on? Consistency.
Yeah.
It's a pattern that allows for there's a more centralized area of the spread, and then kind of it by being a bit broader in the ways it is, if you hit kind of somewhat center mass, the shape means that you should connect most of the pellets more consistently.
Basically, what they're saying there is what we all think. They've made the shotgun really wide, so it's just really difficult to force somebody to miss. That's how I interpret that. The shotgun spread is wide. That's another thing that I could have gone into detail about. As well as the gib range being big, it's also wide. When you're taking 1v2s and 2 people charge at you, sometimes like both could shoot and you could kind of neo in between the bullets. Does that make sense? You could kind of like dodge left or right or force them to miss. Now the spread's so wide, one of them is going to clip you, and then it's going to traction on, and it's going to gib you, or it's going to do a load of chunk damage or point damage. And that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like everything, like we spoke about a few dev blogs ago, and I think Ryan agreed as well. Al Neowit, he was playing on Asylum when we spoke about this, that sometimes when you try to improve a game and you round out all of its little, things that feel bad. Oh, I'm pretty sure I shot him but it didn't hit. Oh, did I clip him? Did I do that? When you round off all those rough edges, you end up with a very smooth product, but sometimes it's a product with no feeling. And I think that's what Gears has fallen into the trap of. It's a game that everything kind of works, it kind of feels okay, but nothing feels great. It's just like this smooth, modern, soulless experience. And I think part of the reason, again, is that those kind of changes. Yeah, maybe sometimes you're pretty sure you've landed the shot and it doesn't connect, but then the fight goes on and it goes into a long fight. These days, everything's like rounded off, and it's just like this, yeah, we're pretty sure you got that kill, have a kill kind of aspect, and I don't like that.
You're kind of catching people with this like one pellet out on the outside, or etc. So like if you like half spread them or whatever, right? You're getting, it depends on where you shoot it, but you might still get a nice big connection that does a lot of damage. Whereas before it was a very kind of like hit or miss sort of spread. It was a lot more contained and a lot more centralized. And so
exactly, it was a lot more hit and miss. You've either hit it or you've missed it. That's the whole point. You can make people miss in the game nowadays. It's really, really difficult.